Hello and welcome. In this first of a series of videos, which are going to be very short in length, I'm going to talk about individual foundational elements, including left hand, right hand, all the parts of the basic warm-up. But in this first video, before we even get to that, I want to talk about our physical approach to the instrument: balance, posture, stance, form, whatever you want to call it. So before we even begin to bring the instrument to us, and that's important to think about, bringing the instrument to us rather than having us go to the instrument. I'm thinking about my balance being equally distributed, left foot to right foot. My feet are about shoulder width apart, as we can see in the other camera. And so at any time I might feel like I want to lift up one leg or the other one. But basically, the idea is we're not too close together like this. Sometimes that can be a sign of tension. In general, just keep free in the knees. If you can release the tension in the knees, oh man, I just did, and it felt so good. It feels so good in the back. So then we bring the instrument to us. And how we do that exactly, my end pin right now is relatively high. I'm going to talk about end pin height in a different video, but that can vary. You may have a lower end pin for now, and that's fine. The reasons for a higher end pin include access to the bridge with the bow and access to the middle and upper register. But it can be dicey. It can create more problems with balance. So at any rate, let's just take a look at what's happening here. So I'm bringing the instrument to me. I'm favoring a relatively high contact point. By high, I mean, well, high is the right word. Yeah, high is okay, but also over. My belly button, my navel is exactly where the corner of the instrument, this part of the instrument, is contacting me there, as opposed to something more like the part between the leg and the torso, which was what traditionally we read about. So when I'm in this position, the bass is not just standing here mutually by itself. It's actually leaning on my head. If I move my head away, it's going to go. So the basic alignment is a 45-degree angle. So I'm a little bit centered that way, sort of turning my head a bit to face the camera. You can play with that a little bit, but overall, this 45-degree relationship will make you realize that if I'm really facing the camera directly, the instrument is going to be pointing about, if you want to call it, northwest, I guess we could say. And if I turn the bass directly to face the camera or the audience, then I'm going to be facing northeast, so to speak. So it's a cool thing to think about in the jazz group too, because we are relating to all the instruments. We're sort of at the center, and usually in a jazz group, that's how the bass sets up. Okay, so we've got the instrument against our navel, really, and our head is holding it up, and we basically maintain that in the low register. It's important that the instrument be leaning this way, because as soon as we bring force from the fingers down, we're going to be pulling it that way. So what I'm doing, and you should think about it in these exercises, I'm actually using the weight of the instrument against the fingers. So when I play such things as shifts, finger combinations, or whatever, that's what's going on. Now, as we get higher up in the instrument, it's natural and good that we follow with our head. At this point, right here, now I'm around sixth position, according to Samandel. It's kind of transitional, but the instrument is still definitely on my navel, and it's still falling forward, only now it's hitting like my neck, like somewhere right in here. And then as I move into thumb position, the shoulder takes over. So now at this point, now you can play quite a bit here and still keep the navel on the instrument. I used to tell my students to turn out, and I think I look back and wish I hadn't done that. I think you can play a lot of notes here in this area. It's just that when you really get into the upper register, like playing Bach suites, like the Bach First Suite was something I played a long time ago that really helped me. Well, I'm still trying to play it to help me to develop my core technique. And so I thought a lot about having the instrument turned out more, and I still think it's a good thing. But I do think that in this area here, it's sort of hybrid. It's sort of transitional. So when you think about the things that we've got in the warm-up, you can do most of them without the navel leaving the bass. So that's about it. You can see my feet here that I'm rather moving. I'm keeping my knees free as I play things. Oh, here's a shift study, and I'm constantly checking to make sure that the bass is falling forward, that it's not falling that way. Put your left leg on a chair at times. You can take a chair and put it right here, and you literally just put it up like that, so you feel what it feels like to have the bass against your leg. You never have to push or press with the thumb. So that's basically what I want to talk about in this first video. So we'll be back with another video soon. So keep practicing, and do think about how you're playing and how you feel physically when you play. And so remember to keep the instrument, bring the instrument to you. Keep moving essentially when you play. It's subtle motions usually, and then be able to pick up either leg when you play. That a lot of students that bear down on the back on the right leg as they're playing. So kind of notice those things when you're playing time in a group. And the last thing I'll say, I think, well, it bears repeating. The reason we play so much arco is that when we play arco, there's nothing that can possibly hold the bass up. So be sure you warm up with the bow before you go to pizzicato, because it will remind you of what you need to do in terms of your physical relation to the instrument. So have a good practice, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.